everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, this time reviewing on Shrek the Third. Now, as you know, Shrek the Third is a 2007 computer animated comedy film that was meant to take place sometime after the events of Shrek 2 and was the third installment in the Shrek film franchise. And I know a lot of people say how it's boring, it didn't need to be made, but I think after rewatching it, I think it does because, the second Shrek film foreshadowed Shrek the Third, and we did see kind of foreshadowings and kind of Easter eggs to what we were gonna get. So the premise of the film is meant to take place 3 years after the events of the second film. We see how Shrek and Fiona try to take on the role of King and Queen after King Harold falls ill. And we do see how, Shrek isn't really the best candidate. And we do kind of see how, the dying King Harold tasks Shrek with finding Arthur, who is meant to be Fiona's cousin, who is at a boarding school, sort of high school thing. And we do see Shrek, Puss in Boots, and Donkey journeying out on another adventure to get Arthur so he can take on the role of becoming king of Far, Far Away. And we do kind of see how, Shrek learns to his dismay, and even to his shock and horror, that Fiona's pregnant. And this is where, you can kind of tell Shrek has to deal with the fears of being a parent, as well as the possibility of not wanting to become something just as bad as his own father. And I think they actually handled the subject of being a parent, a sibling, and that quite well. Because, in the second film, we did see how Shrek reacted quite shockingly when Fiona's mum said about raising the children, and you can tell was a little horrified when she brought it up. And you can tell Shrek is horrified, that he's worried that he might become something bad like his parent, and might actually end up making similar mistakes. And I think what the film gets right at is actually putting Prince Charming in the role of being the main villain, because one, I think the fairy godmother was more of the brains. You can kind of tell Prince Charming is able to manipulate the other villains into doing a hostile takeover of the kingdom of Far, Far Away. Here, we do see him basically becoming the role of the main bad guy. He's able to make the villains feel like they can get their own happy endings. And I think changing the villain route really does work, because, they make it clear that the other villains hate Prince Charming, and it's kind of implied that, they were probably got conned or manipulated by Prince Charming's mum. And I think having Prince Charming able to use, manipulate, and sort of get the other fairy tale villains to do what he wanted made perfect sense. And I think when you do have Shrek with Arthur, you can tell they both kind of sort of relate to being screw-ups. They both know that, that they both had terrible dads, but they don't let it affect them properly. And I think throughout the film, it's just a message about trying to learn to be a better parent and not making similar mistakes like the one from your childhood. And I think for the most part, I think when you do have Fiona with her other friends, Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty and all that does work, as they kind of fit the tropes of the whole sort of fairy tale, sort of Disney princess trope. And I know, Maya Rudolph actually does voice Rapunzel, and obviously, since Rapunzel wasn't adapted at the time, you know who she's gonna be. And I think, for the most part, it's just trying to break away from copying off another Shrek film. And I think, kind of having a story about accepting being a parent is a challenging subject. And you can actually tell Shrek is worried that he is going to screw up again. And I think, they even make it clear that some of the other fairy tale villains, like say Snow White's stepmom also the other Cyclops and other villains aren't really evil. They're just kind of people who do have feelings. They're kind of people who just kind of got the short end of the stick. And when Arthur does talk about what they really want to do, you can really tell he knows that some of them don't really want to do any real harm, don't really want to cause any real trouble. And I think while Shrek the Third isn't a perfect movie, I think it was still enjoyable because, it showed you Shrek had to kind of realise about being a parent and not wanting to make similar mistakes. But I think this movie still deserves a thumbs up. It's still enjoyable, still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.